All right there, everybody. There's the closest star there here for the past 24 hours. That's what's going on over there. Over there at a distance of like 93 million miles, okay? Here's some more footage there. That's December 17th and December 18th to date over there. Little bit of an uptick here in sunspot number since yesterday. Sunspot number now back over 150. There's a colorized magnetogram from Solar Dynamics Observatory. So more active regions there, rising in the northeast especially. And check this out. Vergratosfjall is back to erupting. How you like them apples? Yeah, a bunch of webcams lighting up in Iceland. We'll show you that one. That's a little different than previous nights. And it is snowing in parts of Iceland, while lava is fountaining in others, maybe in the same place. Pretty tough to tell, not a lot of contrast when you've got lava blasting out of lava fissures. Anyway, these volcanoes are also erupting. Stromboli produce a small lava flow once again on the Sierra del Fuoco. And if you don't like it, you can go Del Fuoco yourself. Stromboli is erupting. Don't pole vault the caldera. You wouldn't be wrong if you said Round was erupting also. It's producing a 13,000-foot ash plume as it explodes, flight level 130. Merapi, intermittent explosive activity as well. Dacono exploding, flight level 080. Popocatépetl exploding, flight level 200. It's a 20,000-foot ash plume. Not sure on San Guido, Fuego's exploding, flight level 160. Flight level 190 over Nevado del Ruiz. Flight level 200 over Sangre. That's a 20,000-foot ash plume. Flight level 145 over Revenador. Peru, featuring Sabancaya, producing a 24,000-foot ash plume as Sabancaya explodes, and Erta Ale, creating some new real estate there in Ethiopia. Some fluid lava coming out of the ground. And let's see where the ground is shaken. First with our 90-day bar graph. That's not a 90-day bar graph. Smash staff. I'm afraid this is going to lead to a beating. I didn't say of who. This is a thing that this is an unfortunate unintended consequence. There are the past 90 days of seismic activity. Here are the past 24 hours of quakes of a 5 or greater magnitude. So the day started out pretty calm until a 5.1 struck India, located right near the Himalayas, otherwise known as the Himalayas. At 5.1 was at 10:18 this morning. Tonga had a 5.1 a little later at 14:06. Then the largest quake of the past 24 occurred in Chile. And I'm not going to say the name of that town. That is Linxia Chenguanzhen. That 5.9 must have done some damage. Look at the indicators here. And those are the quakes of a 5 or greater magnitude. And it's time to get back to space. More space stuff. And we got some massive filaments, especially the Lance Armstrong filament up there in the northeast. Yeah, the northeast, which would be the upper left portion. And before we show more imagery of the closest star, let's take a look at some stats. The 10.7 centimeter radio flux is now, should be up once again, I would think, to 161. So it was at 155 yesterday. Today 161. It's actually right about here. So Solon.info will update that shortly. 161 is the radio flux number. And the Space Weather Enthusiast dashboard here, not forecasting any significant geomagnetic storm activity. A little bit of geomagnetic unrest to start the day out tomorrow morning. That's in the next few hours there, so we could see some geomagnetic unrest according to that. We do have an elevated solar wind, which we will get to here momentarily. First thing, the last 4 hours of Earth's magnetic moment from space. So once again, we do have an elevated solar wind velocity here. A little bit of density showing up at the Discover spacecraft. We'll get to the solar wind data here momentarily. Again, that's the last 4 hours of Earth's magnetic moment from space. Our Geospace Magnetosphere movie depicting magnetohydrodynamic pressure. Here is Earth's magnetic moment from the ground for the same period, the last 4 hours, depicting magnetic flux density. So some aurora likely to be showing up there in some locations. It's our ground magnetic perturbations map. Things a little calmer over the past hour or two. KP index currently at 2.67. KP 2.67. And we saw the KP get all the way up to a KP 6 earlier this morning, just for a brief period of time. We'll get to that here. And the ACE isn't showing any data for that, so let's just switch to the Discover. It's got a little bit more of a clear picture. We saw some slightly stronger magnetic fields at the time. A little bit of geomagnetic storm happening there, and a little bit of missing data happening on both spacecraft. Suboptimal. And then eventually the solar wind density made it up to about 35 protons per cubic centimeter. But that was not accompanied by a strong negative BZ component in this top frame, so wasn't really super conducive to heavy solar storm type conditions. Current conditions are still elevated, like I said. 17 protons per cubic centimeter there for the solar wind density at Discover. Solar wind velocity here still under 600 kilometers per second, but up to 589 as it's been ramping up. For the past few hours. So that's our real-time solar wind. GOES magnetometers here showing a little bit of action in the magnetic fields being detected by the GOES 16 and GOES 18 as they travel their near equatorial geosynchronous orbits. Next, the heliosphere. So here's the magnetic situation. Earth currently in a South Pole, a North Pole sector. South Pole sector headed this way rapidly, and it certainly looks like it's going to arrive here. So sunspots forming there in the northeast, hastening the arrival of the next sector boundary crossing. You bring up the last image right here. We could be less than 2 days out, and you may be able to forecast the growth or evaporation of those sunspots based on that data right there, the top view ecliptic plane field plot. Next, line of sight ecliptic plane field plot. Here is our line of sight field plot. One of the best pieces of data you'll see, showing a lot of features all at once, and that brings us to coronal holes line of sight plot. There you go. Some South Pole coronal holes here rotating in, especially in the northern portion. Let's switch to that. So these are north. And these are south. This one down here is also north. So that's the past 24 hours from SDO. The 211 angstroms wavelength is splentacular at showing coronal holes. And that brings us to sunspots. Sunspot number here now back up to about 150, maybe 149, very close to 150. And here's the flare probability monitor and scoreboard. No places are looking super hot for large flares at the moment. It's been pretty quiet as far as flaring for the past 24 hours. Only C-class intensifications last I checked. And here come some sunspots. Again, more sunspots than yesterday. No major growth. No major new groups showing up. But overall, a little bit of growth there for the past 24. Next, looking at the rowdier side of things, the relativistic particles here remain flatlined. So no major changes happening there on the GOES proton flux. It is pretty chill for relativistic particles. Baselines. And I would note that the baseline level of X-ray flux is now at a nearly C2 class background flux. So an increase here in solar activity is continuing and can be expected to continue until we reach solar maximum. That's the way sunspot cycles work, folks. We'll expect to see a continued increase until solar maximum. Probably something like September of next year, that's my guess. And here are the last 24 hours in SDO 94 angstroms. And some flaring there from the north-central portion of the solar disk. So right here might actually be the most active sunspot. So we do have a declining chance of large flares up here in the northwestern limb. So that the likelihood of those old sunspots that are now setting behind the limb, the likelihood of them producing large flares is now dropping. And yeah. That's what's going on. Let's look at some more chilled stuff. Here is the current situation for star chart. So, that's what's happening overhead now in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. You got the moon and Saturn close by. Also Jupiter up there on the ecliptic. Here's your solar system forecast. There are things today. There's where things will be in a week, which will be a Christmas day. Anyway, that's your 1 week solar system forecast. And check it out. Here's a great optical illusion. So check out square A and square B. Which one has a darker colored gray color to it? Would square A be darker in color, or would square B be darker in color? Take a moment, consider this, look at the image, and then we'll take and put the pointer over it, and what do you know? Now which do you think is darker in color? So there you go. There's a great optical illusion. Of course, in science, many things are not as they appear. That's the apod.nasa.gov astronomy photo of the day. And let's get to coronal mass ejections. Here are yesterday's CMEs. Several events there. Those were covered in yesterday's daily space weather video for the most part. Go see that if you're wondering if any of those are earthly directed. The beauty of putting out daily space weather videos every day is that they are daily. Anyway, here are today's CMEs. There's one out of the west. later in the day. And that's the main event, it looks like. Just that one out of the west. I would not suspect that's earthly directed, but let's take some more looks. Here we'll also show C3 on the right. A second coronagraph. Let's look a little closer here. We're going to let C3 catch up a little bit more. There we go. So pretty low levels of activity here in terms of coronal mass ejections since yesterday. So sunspot activity has continued to increase. Sunspot number still going up. And solar flares up as far as background flux, but no major flares, no major flare players. CME activity pretty low, actually, for the past 24. We'll also show stereo A just for completeness. There's where it's located. Here's stereo A raw coronagraph on the left, a difference imagery on the right. Again, things pretty calm here. No majorly exciting CMEs to report on. We will also show our 24-hour videos tying everything together. There you've got SDO 193 plus the C2 and C3. And it looks to me like that CME out of the west. Whoops, that CME out of the west looks to me like it is behind the limb. So probably coming out of that sunspot that's set also, or that region. I'm not seeing any plasma motions on the Earth side there. So anyway, there you go. There's a 24-hour video. It's time to move to filaments. There's a filament situation. We've got two named filaments now. We've got the Bill Maher, which is this one down here. And then we've got the Lance Armstrong, which is this one up here. If you want to name filaments, join us over on Twitter at x.com/smashomash. Follow the hashtag #NameThatFilament. So that's the filament situation. Some significant possible CME players there. Here are the past couple of hours from the GOES back to the GOES 16 SUVI now. We were on the GOES 18 for a while. Now back to the 16. Some prominence is happening in the northeast, the southwest, and at both poles. Next, bonus features. And I seem to have vanished. So now I'm back. That's better. So here come bonus features. First, satellite charging hazards. And once again, we have some, but they are minor this time over the northern Indian Ocean, East Africa, etc. Satellite charging hazards, there you have them. Electron flux here a little bit on the low side. That's the past 3 days. There's the 1 year chart. Low levels of electron flux. Again, space weather coming in, so no surprises there. Likely an anomalous reading. There is the forecast. NOAA expecting fairly flat levels at the next update. Next is the ionosphere model. And this is the vibrational frequency of the layer at the bridge between Earth and space, known as F, the F layer of the ionosphere. So quite a bit of low frequency anomalies here. Again, we did have a KP6 moment in there, so you should see quite a lot of red on the map. A lot of low frequency anomalies happening in the ionosphere for sure. And you'll definitely see that if you don't recognize them in this imagery, it'll be clearer in the anomaly graph. There's the anomaly in megahertz from a 30-day median. Low frequency anomaly depicted in red, high frequency anomaly depicted in blue. So yeah, quite a bit of low frequency anomalies there. Again, we had a KP6, a G2 geomagnetic storm, but it was of a very brief period. That has since subsided big time. Here we go. 2300 is the latest image. There it is, anomalogram and raw ionogram. We'll also show the WAM, the whole atmosphere model, the global ionosphere nowcast. We'll also show total electron content, which is free electron to about where your GPS satellite's located, about 12,500 miles. There is the electron count from ground level to the inner portion of the outer Van Allen belt. So it looks a little sketchy, but whatever. Here's the latest image of the closest star, and quite a bit of magnetic organization happening up here. Another large sunspot has risen there, and that is not alpha class. So that's beta class, that's beta class, beta class, beta class, beta class, beta class. They're all beta class. So this is all much more active than if those were alpha class sunspots. We are seeing some additional magnetic complexity form in this group, especially. That is the new flare player. That's the T-mass. That's the most active sunspot. Anyway, it's time to get to meteorology. So first thing we're looking at is pressure. I said yesterday there was a blocking feature there in the North Atlantic, and once again, there you have it. That high pressure zone, nearly 1,050 hectopascals of pressure there, creating a giant blocking wall of dry massive air, which is causing this system to stagnate and want to move up to the north. It's also causing this system here over the Great Lakes to sort of head in this way. This high pressure zone in the North Atlantic is largely in charge, behaving like a wall of air. Of course, the lowest pressure in the world is in the Southern Ocean once again. The Southern Ocean is looking a little bit on the turbulent side. Anyway, here come your regularly scheduled meteorology segments. First to the surface winds of the east, then to the jet streams. Jet streams of the central world. Next are the surface winds. Surface winds of the west. And the jet streams of the Americas. By the way, nullschool.net wants feedback. We sent nullschool.net some lovely feedback. Perhaps send feedback to nullschool.net. Earth.nullschool.net. Cameron has decided to dedicate himself full-time to improving the site, so cheers. Shout out to Cameron. Here are clouds and fog over the Americas. And here is this low that is kind of a relative weak low, but it's significant with respect to the air around it. So you can see a bit of low pressure there around Huron and Michigan. Lake Huron in the state of Michigan, that is. Next, precipitation type, and we've got some snow in Pennsylvania, most of Ohio, as lake effect snow follows this system. There's cold air rushing in from Canada behind all this moisture, and that's going to make the next wave of precipitation to be a little bit more wintry. So that's what's going on. And we've got a mix of conditions out there on the west side as well. Next, our weather.gov map. That's where the locations are lit up are. There's the key to show you what they mean. If your county or waterway are lit, go visit weather.gov and get your weather warnings. Here comes some forecasts starting with the GFS. That's 72 hours of GFS. Quite a bit of moisture there sliding its way down California as things dry up in the east. Next 72-hour accumulated positive snow depth change in inches. Shout out to Smash Staff's mom. More snow coming her way. Also, Pennsylvania will be 2/3 maybe a little over 50%. I'll say 60% snow covered. Next, total accumulated precipitation in inches, and California is getting some major rains there. The northern part of the state and also the northern coastal part of the state, they're expecting 5 inches. Likely to cause some damage there from flooding. Large parts of the state, they're expecting several inches of rain. Last but not least, temperature anomaly forecast in degrees Celsius. Same model, the GFS 72-hour. 72-hour forecasts, they tend to be accurate. Cold air will be lingering around the southeast. Warm air in the central and northern central portion of the U.S. Anyway, there you go. That's the thing. There was a pretty wicked thunderstorm in the Atlantic Ocean, the subtropical Atlantic. If you're wondering where that is, that's about the last 10 hours ago. And it's way out there in the middle of the subtropical Atlantic Ocean. Here's a real-time lightning map from lightningmaps.org. And we got pretty light amounts. Pretty low amounts of lightning right now, only 51 strikes per minute. Lightningmaps.org, highly recommend it. And by the way, I highly recommend that you visit our links and increase the probability these videos will continue to exist, remain publicly visible and free for all to view. So don't forget to press like, share, subscribe, comment, etc. Our links are smashomash.com to start out with. That's our homepage. The following are paid endorsements. Smashomash.com/SmashTeam. Did you know that I'm not only Smashomash, but I'm also a client? Yeah, that's why I watch the premieres. Smashomash.com/SmashTeam for additional content. There's a gold level, there's a silver level, there's a bronze level. Today's featured product on the Amazon shop, amazon.com/shop/Smashomash, linked below the video as well, is an infrared light bank. So are you getting depressed because it's so dark and you want to have artificial lighting? Well, infrared is one of the ways to do it. So you can pick up the same 45-watt red infrared LED light bank that I use. It's the ultimate blanket, folks. It's a blanket of infrared radiation. It's so good. Highly recommend it. Feels like you're having the sun blasting on you on a bright, sunny day, no matter how crap the weather is where you're located. Other products you can find are the CBDs. The most popular hemp lucid products are the CBD tinctures. But that doesn't matter. If you're looking for tinctures, if you're looking for gummies, stress focus sleep gummies, stacks, we got all that stuff. Save 10% by entering the promo code SMASHOMASH10. Why pay full price when you can save 10% by entering the promo code SMASHOMASH10 on checkout? From the products over there at hemplucid.com, today's featured product from our merch shop is: when will you stop believing NASA's lies and join the Croissant Earth Society? What are you, crazy? You think NASA is an oblate spheroid? Why you believe in NASA's lies? Didn't you know it's founded by actual nazis? Actual nazis founded the organization, folks. You're going to believe them when they tell you the Earth is shaped like a sphere? What are you, crazy? Everybody knows Earth is shaped like the breakfast pastry, so snap into reality, folks. Join the Croissant Earth Society. When will you stop believing NASA's lies? By the way, if you'd like to ask a question to a particle physicist, we can facilitate that as well. Join us at smashomash.com/forum. There's a general science forum where you too can submit a particle physicist question. What will this Friday's Ask a Particle Physicist segment bring? Well, if you'd like to be involved with that, your deadline is Thursday. By Thursday morning. When I wake up on Thursday morning, I send the question to Mr. Bagashov. And no matter how long you've been watching the channel, don't forget to press the like button, or we'll have problems. If you're new to the channel, press subscribe. Do yourself the favor of getting the world's most comprehensive daily space weather content and most detailed solar imagery right into your subscription feed. If you've already done that, press subscribe, press share, press comment, press all the things. Visit the links below the video. If you don't press like, your soul may be cast into an ever-deepening and darkening abyss of winter solstice darkness and bad YouTube content. That is my comment, that you may be submerged in crap content. We'll close out with Doppler radar, clouds and fog, and the water vapor as we bring the weather from space all the way down to the lower 48s. Wait, there's vertical motion in the air column. There's space-based infrared radiation showing clouds and fog even at night. There's space-based infrared radiation at a different wavelength showing water vapor. As frigid air blasts in from Canada, here's our recap. U.S. Doppler radar. The clouds and fog, and there is the water vapor, and here is me climbing back into the bunker because I'm not only spooked of space, but I'm spooked of Earth weather as well, folks. I'm spooked of space, I'm spooked of Earth, I'm spooked of everything. All the things I'm supposed to be spooked of, I'm spooked of, okay? So if you'd like me to be spooked of comets, whatever it is, let us know in the comments. I promise I'll be very spooked of it, and that's why I'm headed to the bunker. So see you soon. In the meantime, may that solar wind be at your back. 'Cause I'm going back to the bunker again. All the vats of stuff I have, it's a bunch of canned spam and peas.